Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So, let's continue with our learning of basic IT tools. Yeah, we were discussing Microsoft Word, and as you know, I have kept repeating there are four important pillars of any content development or the application word that you use. First of all, content, then the formatting, then the automation, and then collaboration. So, as a part of our automation, we have learned yesterday uh, how to use mail merge to deliver mails or to communicate with hundreds and hundreds of recipients when you have a single message to put across, right? So, we went through mailings, we had a document which had the letter, and we had an Excel file which had email IDs. The prerequisite was we had to keep the Microsoft Outlook open, and then we could uh, pick up email addresses and pass on the same content to several of the users. I hope you have given it a try. There was a selection letter that you had to do. So I hope you have done that. And the next part of automation was macros. So we will do a little bit of macros today just to give you a revision. Macro is when you record your set of actions to repeat again and again. And what are these actions that you would like to repeat? Maybe always you want to format, or always you want to insert a logo, or always you want to insert a tabular format or a text format. These are simpler things. Or always you want to, whenever you open the file, you want to put in the current date and time, and on the right hand side of your document. So these things you can use a macro. So when you record the steps, you can access it either using a tool button or a shortcut key. So shortcut key was what we had seen. The tool button is slightly advanced usage. So if you are comfortable with the developer tools or programming tools, then you will find it very easy. Although it's not difficult even if you don't know, but we will restrict our macro to keyboard shortcuts, right? So at a later stage on your own also you can do it. Please remember that in this world of internet and Google and online content available, you really don't need a teacher per se to teach you. I'm just a facilitator. So I show you the way, and then it's for you to explore. So you have to look for better usage, better applications of the features that I am telling you. So you may find several usages based on what you are doing at your workplace or the requirements that you have in your institute, or as let's say you have a team that you are a part of and some work is to be done. You'll find multiple applications. Means the same feature, for example a same labeling feature, could be used several places for different things. Okay, now it's all up to you how you use it. So I can only facilitate and show you, see, look how, this is how you use. What best use to make, you should be deciding, correct? So we had seen content, we had seen automation, we have seen formatting. We just quickly look at automation once. I'll just revise the macro steps because maybe it's a little difficult to catch macros at one go. So I will share the screen and application window. So I open a blank document, and now in the review I have yeah, in view I have macros. So what I'm going to do, see, look, the moment you say record macro, it's like that clap, that muhurat clap of a video shoot, right? And so everything that you do after that gets recorded, whatever it is. So what I will do is I will start recording a macro. I will give the macro INSTABLE, insert table. What's the size of the table? Maybe 3 by 3. Okay. So you want a keyboard shortcut for it. And what is the keyboard shortcut? Let me put Control J, and and I will assign the control G to it. So I say assign, and now whatever I do after assign, it is going to be recorded as a macro. So I say assign, close. Now my macro action is on. So whatever I click will get recorded. Insert table. It was a 3 by 3 table. So that's how you insert. Go back to view. You can also give some kind of a format, and that will look much better. So let's see, I have a total row also. First column, header row, total row. Okay. So I'll choose a format, which is this one. Yeah. And I'll select all borders for the first cell. And now I will stop recording the macro. So I say macro. Stop recording the macro. Yeah. So now let me check if this runs. Yeah. Control J, you have got a table inserted. Again, another Control J. A macro the macro has run and a table has got inserted, but like I told you, you cannot undo the macro, so you will have to delete it, right? You delete, select it and delete table, and that's the only way to go about doing. Why does it not do an undo? Because it never records. The moment you say macro, the control has gone somewhere else. It is not with word anymore, and so therefore whatever gets recorded, it's not stored in the history. Otherwise you have history of the steps that you are creating, and that's how you can undo. But when you're doing a macro, it will not store that macro. Now it will not store the history of steps. The steps will be recorded in the macro. So I hope macro has been well sunk. Try 2 to 3 macros. Try recording 3 macros. One to format a paragraph, another to insert a table, and maybe a third one to find and replace a certain text. Okay, so one for formatting a paragraph, another for inserting a table and formatting the table, and the third one for finding and replacing content. Okay, so you find a word, replace it with another word, and you can just run the macro. You don't need to give anything, and it will do all the replacement, right? Several times when you require to do the same actions again and again, you use macro. So it gives you some kind of an automation feeling. Automation is what? You don't have to intervene. Automatically, your actions will be taken. So that's the thing about macros when you are using word applications, right? Now, let us go to the other two menus that I had said in the earlier session: references and review. Right now, we are moving a little bit towards collaboration. We are done with the content. We are done with the formatting. We are also done to large extent with automation. And now let's move on with the same automation at the back as a backdrop. We will move on to collaboration. So unless and until certain things are automated, you will not go to collaboration. And so what is collaboration? So when multiple people are working on the same file, a file is sent for being reviewed. For example, you want to make a policy related to the HR department in your organization. So, so what happens is you send the document. Yeah, you send the document to your seniors. You make a draft and you send it to your seniors. You send it to your peers, and they do not want to disturb your content, yet they would like to keep some suggestions. So that's when they are reviewing, and so you need to know their comments. You also need to know your own setup, how it is or your own data that you have drafted, you don't want to lose the changes. So if you want to do something like this, then reviewing is a good option. The other option, references. Okay, this is specifically very useful when you are generating research papers. So research papers have got certain format. They have got an abstract, and they have got an introduction, then you've got literature review, then you've got uh, data, then you've got data analysis and conclusion, and then you have recommendations. Okay, and further research, then you have bibliography. So this is a standard format of a research paper. So when you're doing a research, you need to put it in that format. Otherwise, it will not be accepted by those bodies which are, or those organizations which are promoting research and which are who are publishing their research. So you need a certain format. Now, every time to format a research paper, you would have to go through a lot of trouble. So all that is built into the reference part of it. So what we will do is we will first check review, which is slightly easier, and then we will go last to the references part. So again, I will share the document. Okay, so let me go to review. So I want to show an opposite feature here. Remember, we had gone to one place. I hope you can see. Yeah, sorry, in home itself you had got something called dictate. So and then the automation tool, you say and it will type. In a review, we will check something else. We will type something. This is what I need to complete my work. Now this is a very generic sentence, but what I will do is I will select it and I will say read aloud. Now, because of some technology restrictions, you will not be able to hear probably. But when I click on read aloud, okay, I can hear.
This is what I need to complete my work.
So, right. So you can read a lot of, suppose, let's say you're traveling and you have got a document and you don't have the time or the um, you don't have the right kind of atmosphere where you can sit and open your laptop and then you can read it uh, step by step. So you just put this on read aloud mode, and the entire document would be read out to you. So even though you're not actively reading the contents of the document, would you would be able to listen and understand the contents. Then you can probably read it later, make changes. Okay, so this is about the review. Review, as the literal meaning goes, whatever is done earlier, you are going to check again and again. So somebody else has sent you a mail or sent you a document and you need to check it. So instead of reading, you can just say read aloud. And if you have earphones, in your earphones, automatically this read aloud function would be acting, and you would be able to listen to whatever has been said. Okay, so now let us go one by one with all the options that are existing. So I will open another file, which is, yeah, a sample document that we are working on. We will go back to review. I have explained read aloud, which is speech. Now let's go to proofing. Okay, proofing is whether the things that you have done are right or no, right? And what is the word count? Thesaurus, do you understand? Many words for one word. And then you have an editor. So this editor tool, we've already seen it earlier. Once again, if I put the editor on, so corrections, 17 spelling corrections are there, 12 grammar corrections are there. Okay. So if I say refinement and setting, so let's go to spellings, and then it will show me how many spellings mistakes are there. He, the situation, him. So these are all the suggestions that it has given. So you can just say it. Okay. Then his, the situation, hers. So you can just say its. If you don't want to, you will say ignore once, or you can say ignore all, right? Then I'll just select this. I will.
It takes its inspiration from the current of thought referred to as new or universal humanism that has.
Okay, so it's read out the original text, and then if you want to add, okay, or you want to change it, you can accept it. So let us go to the next one. So yeah, the humanist movements concepts based on, so again it has given a suggestion. Okay, so it cannot understand soloist. It is it's given a suggestion soloist, but actually it is soloist. Solo is a proper noun, so it has no word called solo in the dictionary, and therefore this is given as a mistake. So I can say ignore. Yeah, then it may go to the next. So ignore once, then again. So many errors are for the proper nouns. Invariably for proper noun you will get an error. So ignore once, ignore once. Yeah, ignore once is safer. In case you want to change it at some place, ignore once work fine. So it has spell checked. Okay, this is your editor which is working. So okay, then you have grammar. So in the grammar you have, yeah, focuses on. So on is the correct thing. So you say okay. Then you say as. I'm accepting the grammatical suggestions because yeah, this I want to ignore. This I want to ignore. It's a special term. Again, I accept this. Then I accept this too, and simple things. So let's say it is given a comma, 42, a hyphenation of. So I have corrected the grammar, right? Of, and so very simple mistakes, grammatical mistakes, but we are likely to make these. Okay, I'm just correcting the document through the editor. I hope you all are following it. Yeah. So I have corrected all of this as and, right? So at the moment it says use now. So let us use now. Okay. Then there is it, a natural and. Okay. And so spelling. Okay. This I don't want to. So that's fine. I've done with the editor part of it. So it basically corrects grammar and the spellings. Now, thesaurus is something which is many words for meaning the same. So I will say thesaurus for ultimately. Okay, so you have several suggestions: eventually, finally, in the end, in the due course, at last, at the end of the day, initially. So you can choose any one of this. So I can say to eventually, I will say is an enter. So I will close the editor. It's getting a little confusing. And my job is to select, for ultimately I want to select another word. Right? So I go to thesaurus, eventually I will say insert. So instead of ultimately, I have said I have this intention is eventually to surpass pain and suffering. Yeah. So thesaurus is clear, editor is clear. Now I will say word count. So I say word count 4 pages. So it gives everything 4 pages, words 1613, characters 8000, with spaces 9000, paragraphs 50, lines 146. Okay, so include all text blocks, footnotes, endnotes, everything. So this has got your word count. Why is this useful? Sometimes you need to write articles which sticks to or are refrained for to a certain word limit or line limit or page limit, which says that not more than 500 words of an article. So if you write a blog, there's not more than 200 words you should have in your blog. So you can create the blog text in your Word file, count the words, and make sure that you have the right number of words. Also, you can use better words. If you have a slightly weaker vocabulary, you can take the help of Word for these kind of things. All right. So this part of it is clear. Then speech I had explained. Then yeah, accessibility check is right now not very important. So I'll skip this accessibility check and let's go to translate, right? So what I will do is here I will put, let me find some space. Yeah. So I will say, who is this new person, right? I want to translate this into Hindi. I will close these windows, keep closing as and when you want to move on to the next one. So who is this person? This is an English sentence. So I will say translate the selection or translate the document, you can choose. But right now let's check the translate the selection. It would be a very funny scenario if the entire thing was to be translated into uh, so this is an English word from English. You want to translate it to, let us say, Hindi, because we all understand Hindi. So यह नया व्यक्ति कौन है? Okay. So if you are, let's say, official notes, you will require many times because you have Hindi as an official language, and therefore, when you have any government resolutions, you have any memorandum of understanding, you probably have to translate it into Hindi. So a first draft of Hindi can easily be done by just doing a translate, and then you keep replacing the words for the exact meaning if in case the translator has not translated exactly, right? So it's a very useful tool, especially for people who are working in those typical government organization where Hindi is mandatory, or you have a class of employees who need to understand certain notices and certain messages in Hindi, and then if they do not understand English, then they might say that we don't know what it is. So it's a better idea to translate it into the language of the people. So there are multiple languages you can see here, from the local Kannada and Marathi and Indonesian, Japanese, and so many others, right? So you can use that. Now I have no clue how a Tamil language is going to look, but this is the script. If those of you who can understand would know how to, so suppose if I had said this, and let me check if it's reading aloud.
Who is this new person?
Yeah, so it reads out in English, it doesn't read out in Tamil, but it's translated into the script. So got it. So if you want to refer to or you want to change the document from one language to another, you can use this. Okay, then you have language. Set the proofing language. So our proofing language is English. What is the language preference that you want to give? It is English as the preferred language, so you will use that as the language for checking the language. So whatever is your standard English, it will be checked in that. Yeah, if I want to add a new comment. Okay, the humanist movement's conception is based on the Siloist thought. So I will put a new comment over here which will say uh, slowest thought. This is my comment, or I'll say slowest thought needs explanation, right? So now this can act as a comment to the person who originally created this document, right? So what does he understand? Okay, this needs explanation. So do I resolve this? If I will type something and resolve it, then I say, okay, I have resolved it. Okay, if I want to delete the comment, I can delete the comment. Okay. But if I add multiple comments, let's say add a comment here, then I will say add a comment in another place, and I'll say new comment, and I'll say history. Just to bring the attention of the collaborative reader here, I can go on adding comments. Alright. Then so I will say purpose over here. Add a new comment and I say purpose. So obviously comments are to make the document more readable. So if I'm here and I say go to the next comment, so it will go to the next comment. Then again another comment, next comment, previous. That's how you navigate. Okay. So if I want to delete a comment, I can delete the comment. So I say delete, delete, the first comment is gone. So ink the comment. So when I ink the comment, I will get more readability and more attention. And okay, so if I remove this, so the inking has gone. Right now, tracking changes important, extremely important. If 5 of you are working together, you don't want to lose the earlier data, and you also want to maintain your changes. So let's take for example, at this point a definition of human being is a must. It will not suffice to say man is the social animal, or man is the manufacturer of objects, or man is the possessor of language. So I want to put over here, I want to say, okay, um, so I say track changes. Now I am going to say who is a man. Okay. Now this is a change. Okay, so I'm saying track my changes wherever I'm making. Man is the historical being whose mode of social action transforms his own nature. In short, new humanism is based on two basic points: solidarity and coherence. So, defined as treating other people the way you would like to be treated. So, I want to give an example here. Example: be truthful if you want, others do not, others do not cheat you, right? So now this is my change. Okay, so if I edit this document, I send a whole lot of changes to be made. Now the original document creator will have an option whether to accept it. So if I accept and move to next, accept and move to next, or accept this change, I say accept and move to next, so it goes to the next change. Now for the next change, I will say, okay, I don't quite like it, so I will say reject and move to the next. So I don't accept the change, or I will say jump to the previous tracked change. I can do that, or the next change. So I will say reject and move to the next. So this change has not been incorporated. Similarly, if you have two same documents, one you have modified, which is the next version, version 2 and version 1, and you want to compare, how you can do it? So you can compare those two documents with the differences. Okay. So compare the two versions of the document. Okay. And combine revisions from multiple authors. So this is your real collaborative effort. So one person sends save as, another person says save, document contents are same. Now you're confused what to do. So you can use this compare and combine options. Restrict editing will keep the changes editing this, allow only this type of editing in the document. So what kind of changes you're allowing? You can only put comments. Okay, so you cannot put anything else. When you send the document, you will be restricting the editing, or best way, no changes, read only. You're not allowed to do any changes. And whom does it apply to? Everyone, or is there a group of people? Find next region the user can edit. Okay, so you can say everyone who uses the document, right? Yeah, so this inking option is not working. Let me just check draw. So, and then I come to review and say hide ink and click OK. Okay, or I click back again, it comes. But then if I want to delete it, I will say delete all ink in the document, right? So, uh, a lot of part of the reviewing we have seen, and it is basically useful for collaborative documents. Okay, you don't do everything in an organization all by your own. It is checked at several levels, and people do have suggestions, and you cannot be adamant about not accepting suggestions, because the more your document or your content gets beaten up black and blue on your organization front, the better it is when it goes outside. So give it to people to review and then accept your changes. It only turns out to be a better and a best version of the content that you have created. So even if it's, let's say, a blog article, and you want to send it to somebody who's an expert at that, so you send and then he suggests changes. You can accept or reject those changes, but at least you know what people want to read in that little paragraph of 200 words or 500 words or whatever it is, right? Now, this is a CV assistant. CV assistant is your curriculum vitae, which is your resume, what we call it. Now, suppose if you want this, you can use this. I'm just deleting all comments. So, in the view, I will just okay. So, I will say delete all comments in the document. So, it's all gone and it's back to my normal mode that I'm seeing. CV assistant effect. So it will go online and check. Looking for inspiration to draft or to craft your CV. See examples of how people describe their work experiences on LinkedIn. So get started. Now this is an what do you say, a plugin from LinkedIn. Okay. Now what is your role? Let us say it is trainer. Trainer, technical trainer or corporate trainer. Yeah. And which industry? Information technology. Let us say information technology and services, and see examples. So this is how they give. Corporate trainer from 1998 to 2006, all participants emerging from training met or exceeded corporate objectives with an average. So these are the tangible things that they have given after the training program, what happened. So provided additional side by side training as needed. So this is how trainers CV is crafted. So one format may be your institute format, which you can use a template. Another one, when you want to apply on your own, you can use something like this. So these are the best CVs on LinkedIn. You know, LinkedIn is a professional network. So on LinkedIn, you can find some of these things which are linked to, which you can use in your Word. It is like an assistant. So I hope you have understood. And the last one is linked notes. Now these linked notes, this is through OneNote. So what you can do is, I can create a OneNote. Okay, pick a section on the page in which to put that item. So I will select this, and this, and I said, remember I said I want to give an example. So just a minute. Pick a section or page in which to put the item. So I will say coherence. And in the quick notes, okay, I say, oh, okay, coherence is defined as thinking, feeling, and acting in the same way. So I will say, if I like street food, street food, I, it will be wrong to promote home cooked food. Getting it right. So what you're thinking and what you're feeling and acting should be the same. I eat street food, and on the social media, I say, okay, home food is great, and this is the recipe I did, and all these things. So that means it is, you're not coherent. The thinking, feeling, and acting is not aligned. So that's the understanding of it. But suppose if I want to add an example like this, I could have, stop taking link notes and normal view, and I go on over here, then go back to my Word. Okay, so likewise I can go on adding more and more notes. Okay, so this was about reviewing. Okay, now let us take a quick look at references, right? So I'll close this document, and I hope I just go quickly through, run through. Editor, thesaurus, word count, first level of proofing your document. Proofread a document. So you find any mistakes. So you can do three of these. Proofread a brochure. Proofread, what do you say? A research report. Okay, read aloud will read the entire thing for you. Then translate and language. You can translate into any of those languages. The script can be changed. You can add comments. You can edit those comments. You can delete the comments. Okay, move or navigate through the comments for a quick check on what all it is commented. So these are all a part of collaborative features. Track the changes. That means if you're trying to edit the document, you keep this thing on, so the changes will reflect in a different color. Okay, you want to see all the markup. That means you want to see all these things that you have made changes. You want to accept change, reject change, move on to the next, accept and move on, reject and move on. Compare two similar documents. Restrict the editing for the other person who is collaborating. You may have made certain ink marks to draw the attention. After a while, you can do away with it. CV assistant specifically for creating CVs or resumes, right? You can search for the role and industry, and automatically from uh, LinkedIn, you will get suggestions for that kind of a resume. So this, I think, is a great feature for people who are in professional careers, who have plans to move on to a job role. And more than more than editing the document, you can see what kind of work do people in that profile do. So it is an insight. You reverse engineer, you check CVs of certain profile. Let's say 5 years down the line, you see yourself as a chief information officer. So what does a CIO put in his resume? And if there are 10 things he puts in the resume, you have to start gearing up to doing those 10 things, so that after you do those 10 things, your CV can match those top CIOs in who are there on LinkedIn. So useful feature, it's not a part of Word, but this is my additional comment that I would like to give you. You can use it for these reasons, right? Now I'll close this file and I'll open another file. Don't save. Don't save this too. Don't save this also. And I will use another document, which is, yeah, just give me a minute. I will trace that document. Yeah, okay, it is, yeah, this is a typical research paper that I have picked up, and it's a typical, yeah, so, okay. Okay, so this is a abstract introduction and a lot of findings and other things, and you find a lot of figures here. Okay, so these are all diagrams. So let me just put figure one, figure two. It may not create the expected, but at least let us check it out. I am just naming these figures. Figure three, figure four. So, okay, I'll tell you what I'm heading to. Now, I want to submit this paper to some research organization where it can be accepted as a regular paper, right? So, I go to references. Now, this is important. When you are doing a research, you need to add a lot of meanings, because somebody who's seeing your paper does not, it's an assumption that they don't know anything about the research. So you need to give a lot of additional information. More than your work, you need to do all of these things. Yeah. So first of all, table of contents. I'll pick up a table of contents index page, and I'll use, let us say, okay, manual table and say contents. So table of contents, just see what has happened. Okay, control set. I will. Let me go to the top of the document. Only then I can put it. I push this all to the new page because I want the table of contents here, and I don't want to mess it up with the other things. So initially, in the beginning of the document, you have table of contents. Now let's say table of contents. Add this one. So it has added a lot of things which it feels. Okay, Word automatically has um, searched for this: locking down meetings, balancing security with ease of use, educating a new wave. Okay, have I shared the document? Hold on, just let me check. Okay, I'm sorry. So I just shared the document. Yeah, and I'll delete because you missed this. I will just undo. Yeah, I hope you are able to see the document. So once again, this is a kind of some research paper that is there, and it's got a lot of things. What I'm trying to do is creating. I'm creating a table of contents. So I put a table of contents over here, and I say, okay, these are the contents. Table of contents, right? So when I say table of contents, it's automatically picked up based on my format. I told you, right? Formatting is important. So based on my formatting, it realized in the research, you have research aim, research objective, justification statement. Then you have research methodology, research design, strategy. In the data, you have collection method, questionnaire, sampling. So if I click on control click, it acts like a hyperlink. It takes me. So isn't it a part of automation? You don't have to search. You just control click on the index item. It takes you to that specific place. Now, if I want to add text and at some level, I can do it at level 1, level 2, wherever, and say do not show it in table of contents. So suppose, for example, I said add text at level 1, and I say sample, right? So if I insert table of contents, it may show again. So update table, update entire table. Okay, so can you see sample has come at level 1, right? So you don't need to redo it. You can just update the table, correct? Insert footnote. So when I say insert footnote, what does it mean? So for here, I will give COVID-19, which is novel corona, novel coronavirus, right? Footnote. So just hold on. Mm, okay. So I should have selected an input, but it has given over here at the footnote what this means, COVID-19, right? You have at the end of the book similarly. So insert end note, end of the document. Okay, next footnote, previous footnote. So you go and you navigate. Yeah, smart lookup. Now, if I want to look up COVID-19, I say smart lookup. So you try to search coronavirus disease 2019 and everything about this word. So let us see if there is anything else that I can search, right? So you may find an application like video conferencing, right? And I say video conferencing and I say smart lookup. So it may give from Wikipedia or it may give from any other, some from the net. Video conferencing is the conduct of video conference by a set of telecommunication technologies which allows two or more locations. So once I found this definition, what I can do it, I will copy it, Control C, and here I will put uh, insert a footnote. Let's say insert an end note, which is Control V. So that one means this, right? So where it requires meaning, where it requires more understanding, you can search for the term. You can do a smart search, right? Let's help you find quotes citable sources and images. So in the same video conferencing, if I say researcher, here start typing here people, events, concepts. So I will say video conferencing, I press and enter. Okay. Video conferencing history, managerial use of video conferencing. Okay, science direct. So there's an article of information and management. So VCs for meeting and transient geographical dispersion in the workplace has increased significantly. So if I have to look it up, okay, so managerial use of video conferencing and okay, so I get a lot of things over here. References, somebody who's worked on the research earlier. So the researcher, the search, I can get everything. Okay, so that's the research part of it. Then insert citation. So credit a source of information by citing the book, article, or other material it comes from. So suppose if I had something that I picked from a book, I could have inserted the citation. Now let me just check any term over here which is from a book. So I will say digital collaboration. Okay, this is not possible. Google Forms. And I say insert citations, add a new source. And where have I got this from? So I need to add which book, all these things, and it will appear in citations, right? Manage sources. So if I have 10 references, I will be able to add all of them. How do I want to sort it? Let's say I have 20 books I have referred to. Do I want to sort it by book title, or I want it by author, or I want it by a tag or a year? Accordingly, I can give. Okay. Now this is a standard style of putting these citations and bibliography. Okay, see, for example, if I give a reference, it has to be like this. You give the name of the author, then you give the year, and then you give the title, and you give the place, right? So this is how you can include a bibliography at the end. Bibliography is your references for your work. Okay, insert table of figures. Now let us go and check whether table of figures gets inserted. I have put in certain titles. Let's say insert table of figures, something like this. Doesn't say any table, so it's not detecting. But if I sufficiently put that information over there, it will create a table of figures too. Okay, insert caption. Label your picture or object. Once you have added a caption, you can reference your object anywhere in the room. So let's try doing this. So I have a figure here. Right, I had gone to this figure. Yeah, okay. So I will add a caption. So what is the first one? Figure 1, occupation. So I say Control C, insert a caption. Okay. Then I go to figure 2. I can delete this now safely. And I say this Control C, and I put insert caption, Control V. Okay. Then delete this, Control C, insert caption, Control V. Okay, now let us see if it creates a table of figures. So insert table of figures, and you can take this as a preview and say okay. So now this is given the table of figures too, right? So you have to go and say insert caption, then you will get cross references when you hyperlink documents either to, we have seen this cross reference earlier. You put in a bookmark and you refer to the bookmark. So your index is nothing but several bookmarks that have been included over here. Okay. Mark entry adds the selected text to the index. So let's try and put one more thing to the index. Something that has not been done. Qualitative survey, and so further research. I think it has been, but let me just try mark entry. Okay, then mark citation, table of authorities. Okay, so you will have a lot of okay, insert index. Let's try inserting index. So everything, uh, all those words, all those important terms, you can create an index of that. Okay, and then you have acronym, displays definitions found for acronym in the document. So check if there are any acronyms. IT, so information technology. Okay, so just one is what is found. And insert table of authorities, that if you have got a lot of positions mentioned, if you have mentioned first author, second author, things like that, it will just create that. It will create that entry. Okay, like table of figures, table of contents, table of authorities, plus additional entries. If you want to make, you can mark them as entries and then insert an index for that. Cross reference is when you are hyperlinking in the entire document the bookmarks. Okay, so let's run through table of contents. We've understood footnotes, endnotes, meanings for certain terms, just like books. Smart lookup, if you want to look up the internet. If you want researchers who have previously worked on it, research paper, research references, you can look up for that. Insert citations. So if you want to include your bibliography and where all, which all research papers you have referred, you can insert citations, right? And then you have captions. So you have cross references. Then you have other important words that you can mark there and create an index, and acronyms if they are used at all. So let's say there is an acronym over here, VUCA, which is used, but it's not found over here. So, okay. So I think that is it. That will be all for today. So we have covered almost everything of those menus, and that what we have not covered is not very difficult, and it may not be relevant to you right now, so there is no point mentioning right now. So I have deliberately skipped certain things because it's not possible to demo or give a demo of it. Okay, however, we can always have question answer sessions, we can always have your uh, query solving sessions. Okay, so a large part of collaboration we have checked today, and maybe in the next session I will just try and do all the assignments. So for today, uh, your task would be to create the two kinds of documents. One is a research document you can download from anywhere on the internet and then play around with it with insert tables and insert table of contents and table of figures and all this what we have talked right now, just for practice. And then you can view it, right? You can sorry, you can review it. That means the collaborative part can be done. There are other things like sharing the document on Google Drive or OneDrive if you are using Microsoft Office or Office 365 license. If you've got, you can do it on OneDrive. So everybody has access to that. Anyways, by and large, the method of sharing is to put it on cloud, and from cloud give access to other people who can review it, so you don't have to physically send it through email, right? You just give access and the mail notification automatically goes to the person where it is detected as a document that can be shared. And let's say you have, for example, you are doing some kind of a research and you're gathering data for, let's say, 1000 students across the city, right? So one person cannot do it for 1000 people, so therefore you divide your work, and then when the survey is conducted, you upload the data in Excel, okay, one by one. You could do it through Google Forms or any other forms, and then you can upload it to Excel, but you need to keep it in a place where it is shared, right? So people can edit the document. Not only that, they can review and they can keep the changes over there. So that's about collaboration, but ultimately it turns out to be that it is a collaborative platform, or it is the more you collaborate, the more you share your work and get reviews and feedback, the better your content would be and the better the format of the document. Okay, so I will just get back. So I hope uh, you have followed so far. So we've almost completed all of Word. I may take a quick review of all the exercise that are done. Yeah. Thank you for today and see you in the next session. All right. The next session.